Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is KDreezy from KDreezy Gaming, and today I wanted to share with you my Vapor Drone, which is an airplane that I engineered all by myself. I am becoming a big boy and I can design planes. So I haven't patented this yet, but I probably should because as you can see it is really small, but it is extremely efficient, it's extremely maneuverable, and extremely fast. I actually took this plane just to give you a little bit of the specs as far as its performance. I was able to get it over 1500 meters per second really easily, going up at about a 10-degree pitch, and so I wasn't going down at all. And if I were going down, I would definitely have, or even just going straight 0%, I probably would have burned up the entire plane because it would get going so fast that it would literally just tear itself apart. And even with its speed, because it's so small and because it has such a good ratio as far as control surfaces to overall surface area, you can maneuver it around really well, and I can show you a little bit of that later. And after I talk about the plane a little bit more and how to build it, I will also show a clip if you guys want to watch of me getting this plane up past 70 kilometers, which is out of the atmosphere, and then gliding without using my engines again after I broke the atmosphere, gliding all the way back down to the opposite continent across the ocean from the space center. So in other words, once you get up past I think like 55 kilometers or something like that, your engines will shut off because they aren't getting enough oxygen to burn, and then you don't have to turn them back on and you can get to the continent across the ocean. You can literally just glide the rest of the way. So that just those are just a few things that kind of show how well this thing performs. And like I said, I'll show you a video of that afterwards. So for now, I'll kind of tell you how to build it. And so I use this RC001S remote guidance unit. You start with that. You want to make sure that it is facing the right direction. Otherwise, if it's facing backwards, your control surfaces will be inverted, and then if you're trying to roll one direction, it'll roll the other direction, and etc. So you want to make sure it's facing the right direction. Put the nose cone on it, and then I put one of these C-type connector wings on the top. So you kind of have to get like this, and then you put it up against the top surface of the remote guidance unit. And then I didn't have the bottom one on first, but I'll explain why that was really bad in a minute. But then once you get that surface on, then you can start attaching. You attach the fuel tank first, and then you can attach the engines, and then you can attach the intakes, and then the wings and the control surfaces. And then I put these air brakes on. You can take them off if you want, and you can actually lower the tail fins down a little bit if you want them to be angled, and you'd have more vertical control. But I didn't do that. But back to why you shouldn't have just one of these on, the C-type connectors, is I had it on the top, and I'll bring up the aerodynamic and the center of mass overlay. So the center of mass, as you can see right now, is like perfect. It's right behind the center of lift, I should say. Center of lift is perfect. It's right behind the center of mass, and it is vertically right in line with it, and so that's like exactly what you would want. When you have one of these C-type connectors just on the top or just on the bottom, it does help with weight. However, then your center of lift is going to be either higher or lower than your center of mass, and that's kind of a big problem because, okay, well, not a big problem, but it is a problem because when you're trying to control your plane, it'll start lifting the back end or the front end up when you don't really want it to, and so you have to work extra hard just to keep your plane flying straight. And so I ended up putting this bottom one on afterwards, and that helped straighten out my center of lift, and so now it is pretty darn perfect. And let's see, I think that is about it. So I mean, it's pretty straightforward, minimalistic plane. One thing that I'm not really proud of is the front landing gear. You can see it's kind of at an angle, and it raises up this tire. It's just a little bit higher than the back ones, and so when you're coming down the runway and trying to take off, your plane's slanted downwards a little bit, and I could fix that with the move tool, but I left it there for a couple different reasons, and I haven't found it to be too big of a problem as far as taking off, but it does make it harder because you're slanted downwards, and so you have to get your meters per second up pretty high before you can actually take off. And then another thing about it though is this front nose and the wheel, the landing gear, they generate a ton of heat from the atmosphere, and so they will end up exploding if you get going too fast. So if you see the heat monitors or the bars going across, you might want to pull back on your throttle just a little bit, because this plane will get so fast, like I said, and it'll just blow itself up. So that is about it. I'm really happy with this plane, so you guys go ahead and try to make it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and like I said, watch the following clip if you'd like to see how it performs. Thank you guys and have a great day.